Hello everyone, welcome back for another edition of Virtual Yin Yoga. I'm your instructor Mike. I'm happy to have you with me this evening. For tonight's practice, we're going to do something a little bit special, a specific practice for the cold weather. I'm sure you know this, but as we age, and especially during the colder weather, the smaller joints of our body become stiff faster than any other part. So what I wanted to do is work things like our toes, our ankles, our fingers, our wrists, our neck, possibly a little bit into the shoulders as well. And the reason why we get stiff in the colder weather, consider that your body is mostly water, right? 70-80% of you is water. And what happens to water when it gets cold, right? Those molecules slow down, they freeze, they get sucked together. So we want to move them, right? We want to keep them stimulated, get that internal heat going. So we're going to do a little bit of the meridian exercises, but a real specific case of this one. Again, toes, ankles, fingers, wrists, neck, shoulders. You may need some props today. You probably won't need any blocks or anything like that. We're going to be doing most of this sitting upright. You probably want to have a yoga mat with you just so you can sit on something and be a little more comfortable. Maybe a blanket or something like that. It is cold, right? So maybe you want to bundle up with a blanket. But when you got your props, join us back into the practice. When you are ready, you can close your eyes. We're going to start this off maybe laying on your back or sitting upright, so wherever you're most comfortable, but close your eyes, pay attention to the breath, breathe low in your belly, low in your diaphragm. And if you want to double check if you're doing that correctly, place a hand on your stomach right below the belly button. You're going to feel that stomach expand on an inhale, and you'll feel it contract on an exhale. And that's belly breathing. It's the technique I always recommend for something like this. It's slower pace. We want to slow things down. Breathing low in the diaphragm will do that. So just go ahead and focus on the breathing for the next minute. Take a few deep breaths, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And if you're laying down, come up to a seated position. But if you're already upright, we're going to start this off working our toes a little bit. We'll just spread them out, really as far as you can, and you're going to clench. Just go back and forth with the spreading and clenching. Never to the point of strain, right? I don't want you to start cramping in your feet at all. It's not going to be comfortable for you. Just waking them up, right? Loosening them up. And we'll also go forward, point those toes in front of you, and bring it back. Right, and you can feel the ankle stretching with that. Now, that's not our direct ankle stretch, but this is, again, just a warm-up for it, because we're going to rotate them into full range. When you're ready, go ahead and bring a foot in. Does not matter which one you start with. But maybe take the big toe, you're going to bend it forward, you're going to bend it back, you're going to bend it forward, back a few times. I want you to turn it in and turn it out as well. That's called passive rotation. It's really a special movement in the toes. Not many other joints have that. And then you're going to just rotate it into a circle. And you go a few times one way, you go a few times the other way. Pinch and pull on that nail, move on to the next toe. Same deal, right? The forward back motion a few times. Turning it in, turning it out a few times. Rotation, rotation, pinch and pull, move on to the next toe. And if you can crack toes, that is just a bonus there for you. Get forward and back. Wow, there it is. Forward, back. Turn it in, turn it out. Rotation, rotation. Pinch and pull, move on, last toe. Now you don't have to like rush through this if you're still working on like those middle toes, it's fine. But I will say when you are ready and done with that last toe, you're going to start massaging the sole of the foot, the top of the foot, the heel, the Achilles tendon, just rubbing everywhere on your foot, giving a nice little massage here. Maybe even kind of like rub on it with some friction. That's really what's going to warm things up, right? Friction from those hands together. That's why we do that intuitively, if you didn't know that, to warm things up. When things are moving faster, they heat up a little bit. And that's just chemistry right there. That's just physics right there. Could just put a broad term on it, science right there for you. And we like to be scientific in our practice. I don't want to just be a teacher who revolves their teachings around esoteric things, and not that that's a bad thing. I think it's awesome. I'm totally into that whole spiritual side of things, but I also don't want to conflict with people's ideologies, so I'd rather kind of keep it more physical and talk more about the science, the anatomy behind this. I think you get more out of that when it's more educational versus me just like reading scripture to you. Not that that's not a problem or anything like that. I'm not judging anything like that, but I feel like for a lot of people, I just want to get them to do yoga. I don't want them to feel like they're obligated to read like the Bhagavad Gita or the Tao Te Ching or anything like that. Although if you're interested in that, we do have copies of those books here at the library, so feel free to check them out. They're up in the reference section. I'll be more than happy to help you find out where they are. Next thing we're going to do with the ankle, it's actually going to be the last thing for us. We're going to rotate it. We're going to go a few times one direction, right? You go a few times the other direction. When you feel like you got your balance, go ahead and just place that foot down. Even for now, just feel the difference between the 2 feet. We've only worked the one, so I'm sure it feels different than that other one, the one we haven't touched yet. Does it feel a little warmer, right? It's the whole point of this practice is to get those molecules moving where you feel that heat going on there. You can close your eyes to sense that a little more. But when you're ready, other side for the sake of balance, right? Same deal, big toe, forward and back a few times. Make sure you turn it in and turn it out a few times. That passive rotation is really important to do. And then you'll rotate it into a circle. You go a few times one way, you go a few the other. Pinch and pull on the nail, move on to the next toe. Same deal, right? Forward, back, rotation. Oh, sorry, passive rotation first, then rotation. If you can crack those toes, go for it. When I first started, though, I couldn't crack my toes. Before I knew it, though, they were always cracking. Not a bad thing, though. If cracking was a bad thing, chiropractors would not exist. It's how they make their living. And they crack bigger joints all the time. They crack the neck, all the cervical vertebrae, your SI joints, right, the back of your hips, things like that, your spine. So if they can do it and not get sued, you can do it by yourself. You're going to massage the sole of the foot, the top of the foot, heel and Achilles tendon, when you're ready, I should say. But we probably are a little bit ahead, aren't we? So yeah, again, just getting deep in here. We talked about a little bit of friction. If you literally want to just like rub your feet onto it, it's totally fine. You might be able to get a little bit more heat there doing that. Things like tennis balls are a great prop to use for the soles of your feet. If you have them, feel free to use them. I really don't teach it too often, but I do like to make mentions of it, honorable mentions here, where you take that tennis ball and roll your feet out on it. Usually I would recommend standing with that because you can put a little bit more weight onto it, which gives you more pressure, which loosens things up a little bit more. You could get it sitting on the floor, but it definitely wouldn't be as much, right? There wouldn't be as much pressure there. You'd have to make more effort to push down with your leg if you were sitting versus standing up. Good. When you feel like you've had enough of the massage, the last thing we'll do is just rotate the ankle. You're going to take it to the full nice range of motion. Cracking all day today. It's great. I'm actually filming this in the morning. This is sort of like my morning practice right now, which is really nice. When you feel like you've had enough rotation there, place that foot down. And again, just take a moment, right? Just feel all that energetic flow that's taking place right now in your feet and in your ankles. work into our fingers next. We're going to do our fingers kind of like we did our toes, with the forward bending, the back bending, the rotation. Now your fingers don't have passive rotation too much, so don't worry about the turning in, turning out action. But you can take your thumb, bend it forward and back a few times, rotate it a few times one way, a few times the other, pinch and pull, move on. I like to actually crack my knuckles while I'm here, so I usually start by pulling it out of the socket first, then go back and forth a few times. Rotation, rotation. Move on to the next finger. Same deal, right? Pull it out, maybe once, try to crack it. Forward, back, rotation, rotation, pinch and pull. Every finger is cracking today, which is a good thing, right? Not a bad thing. People pay a lot of money for that. So when you're done with that last finger, maybe shake it off. I'm going to keep cracking my knuckles because I can. There you go. But we're going to switch to the other side. So same deal with the thumb. Forward and back a few times. Rotate and circle a few times one way, a few times the other. Pinch and pull. Moving on. Yep. Again, just taking the fingers to their full range of motion. That's really what this whole practice is about. It's about maintaining the ranges of motion with these smaller joints, which are so often neglected. And that's why I like to teach this kind of stuff. You know, it's people every now and then they'll come in and they'll see us doing this kind of practice and they'll kind of complain because it's not what they're expecting. But you know what though? Like don't mistreat your fingers and your toes. I mean, you use your hands so much more often than you probably do realize for you. So why wouldn't we want to treat these areas? You know. And when you're done, shake that off. Crack the rest of the knuckles if you can. There it is. And then you just shake it off a little bit. But we're also going to massage the palms and the backs of our hands here too. I really try to work around the base of the thumb right there. I mean, there's so much tension considering how strong your thumb is. The opposable thumb is one of, again, the unique features of a human body. But there's often a lot of tension there. It's just what comes with the territory of being a human, right? And it's pretty nice. You know, it's pretty nice to be human. I enjoy it most times. Mostly. Switch the side when you're ready. Again, same deal. Massaging palm and the back of the hand. Work around the base of the thumb. Shake it off when you're ready. And we're going to work our wrists. We're going to rotate them. Full range here. Wow, I can feel really tight in my wrists today. So this is a good thing that I'm doing this. Remember, a few times one way, a few the other. Golden rule here. Go both ways. Shake it off when you're ready. We can do a few other things too. Why don't we just open palms, bend the hands back, and then bend them forward. Right? Just a little bit of movement here. We can make it different though. Make a fist, thumb on the outside. Same deal, right? Isn't that different, right? To move your hands in that particular direction versus open palms. And let's make it even a little bit more different. Thumb is on the inside of the fist. That's different too, isn't it? Always worth doing, right? Always worth doing these things. Shake it off though when you're ready. Let's do some lateral movement. Go side to side here. So try to keep your elbows and your arms stationary. It's just the wrists that I want you to be moving, your hands that I want you to move. Feel like you're maybe playing a piano here, right? But you're being very stationary. Right, shake that off. Now we're going to stretch the wrist. We're going to do this one both at the same time for the inside of the wrist. We call it the belly of the forearm. I'll show you from the side. Sometimes I think it's easier to see it this way. So you're going to take your hands, right? Open palms. Put the palms on the ground here in front of you. And so now you're getting the inside of the wrist. And just so we all know, with the palms down, our fingers are actually pointing in towards our body. I'll show you from the front here too. Actually, it might be nice to get a little closer anyway. Now, if sitting on your feet and your knees like this is not comfortable, you could always just continue to sit cross-legged or wherever you're at. You don't necessarily have to lean into it quite like this. Definitely want to stretch this, right? This is the carpal tunnel that you're working into. That cold weather tends to tighten these areas up. And it's really, again, just because it's a smaller joint. All of these small joints tend to feel it first. I mean, every joint does, but you'll notice it more so in the smaller joints first. So that's why we're doing this specific practice today. When you are ready, real slow, you're gonna lift it up, move it around a little bit, shake it off. We're gonna do the back of the wrist next. Right, so what you're gonna do here, same deal, you're gonna flip the hands over, but it's now the palms up. The back of the hands are down against the floor. Some people would prefer to have them on their legs, either way it's fine. But again, back the hands down to feel the back of the wrist. A little bit of gravity, a little bit of pressure into it. I don't want you to throw your whole body weight into it, but a little bit, right? A little bit of effort there. I feel my neck is stiff. Good thing we're going to work this too. Real slow. Lift it up, move it around. Just shake it off a little bit. And there's our work for the wrists, fingers, wrists. The next things that we're going to work into, we'll do a little bit for the shoulders here. Let's just rotate them, full range, so hands to shoulder blades, full range here, right, big circles. A few times one way, a few the other, right, make sure you balance with it. When you got your balance, shake it off a little bit. And we're going to work that neck. We'll do a couple of stretches here. Let's start it off first just by rotating it though, right? Same deal, full range. A few times one way, a few the other. Doing your best to balance here. When you got your balance, rest the neck at the center. We're going to stretch the sides of the neck. Go ahead and lift your ear, doesn't matter which one. Lift the ear up to the ceiling. You feel that lengthening throughout the side of the neck. When you're ready, release. And then the other side. Elevating, lifting the ear. Two sides are different though, aren't they? When you're ready, back to center, move around. Go ahead and turn your head to the left, to the point where you start meeting resistance. Not past that though. When you're ready, release, and then you're going to turn your head to the right. Once again, to the point where you meet resistance. And when you're ready, back to center. We're going to stretch the front of the neck by lifting the chin up to the ceiling. Don't crank back in the neck, lift up with your chin. When you are ready, release, and then bend your head forward for the back of the neck. When you're ready, release. Move around. We got one more direct neck stretch for us. We're going to use a little bit of muscular effort here. I try to explain this visually because I think it's easier to do. Imagine 0 degrees is in front of you, 90 are your shoulders. I know it's not like technically correct, but let's not worry too much about that. So what you're going to do here, take your right hand on the back of your head, pull your head down to the right to around 30 to 60 degrees. You feel the back left side of your neck stretch here. We're going to hold it for about 20 seconds. So don't like yank as hard as possible, just a little bit of pull there to get that stretch. When you are ready, release real slow. Other side. And if you're on the same page as me, it's left hand on the back of your head. Pull it down to the left to around 30 to 60 degrees. Feel the back right side of the neck. When you're ready, release. Move it around. Very good. We are now at the end of our practice. Well, actually, you know what? No, let's do just one more thing. Go ahead and just turn and twist. Back and forth. I mean, we're not necessarily going to be doing the full yin practice now, but it might feel nice to loosen up the hips and spine a little bit. And then you could always just lay on your back and cradle the legs if you feel like you can go deeper there. There we go. That's better. Now when you're ready, go ahead and close your eyes. You can lay on your mat. You can sit upright like you're in meditation, so wherever you're most comfortable, go there. When you're there, close the eyes. Nothing to see. At this point, it's more to feel, more to pay attention to. Focus on your breath. Breathe low in your belly, low in your diaphragm. Turn senses, your awareness within. For the last few minutes, observe all those smaller joints. Observe the practice, the neck, the hands, the wrists, the ankles, the feet. Take notice of what you've just done with your practice. No formal ending to our practice. Stay in your Shavasana as long as you like, but that's officially all that I have for you. I want to thank you all for watching, sharing your practice with me. It's been my pleasure. Namaste.